Monday, October 14th, and I'm so glad you've joined me today. You're here with me because today is Q&A day. You can ask me any question you have about common sense parenting. This will be for children ages 2 to 12 years, and I'm excited you're with me, and I wanted to put in the comments section somewhere. I'll get to this in a minute. Let me finish up. Anyway, today's Q&A day. Ask me any questions you have. I'm also going to be responding to comments on reels that I've posted or that I've shared from other people, because I really love sharing other people's reels. We can learn from everybody, right? So we're going to talk about that. So in the comments section, say hello, tell me where you're from, and if you have any specific questions, put them there. I will need to know specifics though. So if you're asking about a 3-year-old, please say a 3-year-old boy, a 3-year-old girl, whatever. So I have enough information to answer the question as well as I can. Okay, big news, big news. I'm really excited about this. The Common Sense Parenting with Pam, the manual you wish they came with, which is the compilation of 8 of my books, will be up on Amazon next Wednesday, October 23rd. Ding, 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 ding. I am so excited. This has been hours and hours and hours of work, and it's a labor of love, and I'm so happy to do it, and I'm really happy it's ready to be up on Amazon. So look for it on the 23rd, and I will, hi, Paola, I hope I'm saying that right, hey, it'll be up there on the 23rd. Now I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to offer it for 10 days at a discounted rate. So as soon as that book's ready, I'm going to do a reel about it. I'll put the link. You can run there and grab it then, because after 10 days, the price is going to go up to the regular price. But I want to give you an opportunity to purchase it at a discounted rate first. So I appreciate your patience. It's been hours and hours of work. Like I said, it is 295 pages. So lots of reading in there. And I want you to treat this like a manual. So there's 8 different chapters, and every chapter actually is a separate book. So if you're having problems with getting your child to bed at night, you go to the chapter on bedtime snuggles and struggles. If you want to learn how to manage your child's behavior, you go to the chapter on managing children's behavior. So you don't have to read the entire book through all at one time. It's as you need certain topics, you can jump in then, okay? Make it easy. Oh, hey, Evelyn. Okay, good. I can call you Evelyn. Hello. All right, so I want to make it easy for you to navigate this book. Okay. The other thing is I've started a blog. It is on PamelaPalanza.com. Every Thursday, there will be a new blog posted. The first one is already up there, so feel free to check that out when you get a chance. And the podcast should be up next week. The first episode should be up next week, so we've got that all rolling. I've been busy, but I love this. This is not work for me. This is joy for me. I call this joy, not work. I love every second of what I do here. So, welcome. Oh, hello, Melissa from Canada. Oh, goodness. And Shanara, I hope I said that right. Glad you are with me. Feel free to ask any questions you have about parenting in here. The link to the Common Sense Parenting with Pam Facebook group is in here. So check on that. You can join that group. It's free. You have to answer some questions. Once you answer the questions, I review your profile, and then I admit you to the group if everything checks out okay. And we have 805 members, I think, right now. So what's really nice about that group is you can ask a question, and then I can answer it, but lots of other people answer it as well. So you get different perspectives, and then you can choose what's going to work best for your family and for your child or your children. So I love it. Okay. Have any tips on a 4-year-old with autism? So getting to questions already. I love this. Nicole, specifically, what do you need tips on? So I have worked with kids with differing abilities before. I don't have a lot of experience, obviously, with children with autism. It's been years. Although I have, I know people that have children with autism. So specifically, maybe give me a question there. And also on my podcast, let me just say this because I forgot to mention this again. So my podcast will air every Tuesday at 8 a.m. But you can catch it anytime, right? That's when I release it. Every other Saturday, we're going to release an episode where I'm doing a podcast with my sister. She has a child who's 22 who has autism and Down syndrome, and he's nonverbal, and she has years of experience working with him and engaged in her community in Houston. She has a wonderful podcast called Embrace the Blessing, where she interviews other parents. So we will have an opportunity to maybe talk about some of these questions we're getting from my followers about autism or other different abilities. So we'll look for that on there. Okay, let's go on here. Okay, here's another one about autism. Okay, so I hope I answered some of those questions, but let me look right here. Make sure, okay, Melissa, Victoria. Okay, Victoria, the book, you were talking about managing behavior. So Victoria's comment was she needs help with a 4-year-old talking back and not listening and trying to act like she's the parent. Yeah, haven't we all been there? Okay, here's the deal on this, and that's going to be addressed sort of in the book because we talk about, discipline and punishment and consequences and all that stuff. You need to nip this in the bud now, as you know already because you're asking this question. This needs to be nipped in the bud. So you're going to need to instill consequences for when she talks back, and you have to back those up every single time. So you mean what you say, and you say what you mean, and you don't say something you're not going to follow through with. So don't make it a bizarre consequence that you're not going to be able to follow through with. Okay, it has to be consistent because so in this book as well, there's a whole book on being consistent. So being consistent, instilling consequences, letting her know I'm the parent, you're the child. Here's the parameters, here's the boundaries, here's how I expect you to behave. And then you enforce that constantly. So hope that helps some, but that book goes into all of those things, what you need to do and exactly how you need to do it. Okay. Chinara, you're from Egypt but living in Cyprus. Hello. And let me see who else. Hilda, autistic boy. Nicole. Okay, hard to get him calmed down. Once he gets mad, he starts screaming and it just escalates. Yeah, okay. And throws things at me and tries to hit me. Yeah, so my sister deals with some of this kind of behavior with her son. And so I can talk to her. We can get her maybe to address some of this on the podcast. He's high functioning. All right, let me just say something here. I have personal experience with a child with differing abilities. And treated him just as my other children were treated as far as behaviors were concerned. So he did not have autism. However, he had behavior challenges. And so I don't want to go into too much detail. It's very personal, and I don't want to share someone's story and offend them. However, let me just say, I treated him exactly like I treated my other 3 typically developing children when it came to behavior. I didn't allow him for nonsense because he said, well, I can't. Yeah, you can. You can. And he did, and he could. But I had to put those boundaries and those parameters in place. And so if your son's high functioning, he's probably capable of having some consequences. It's, enforced. And, like I said, I don't have a lot of experience in that field. I have personal experience, but I'll let my sister probably jump on that one. If anybody else has any responses to this, please feel free to jump in here in the comments section. But the other thing is, I would encourage you to join our Common Sense Parenting with Pam group. We do have a lot of parents in there who are dealing with children with autism and have questions like this. And so we get a lot of great responses back of things that you can try. So just go onto Facebook, look for Common Sense Parenting with Pam, fill out those questions real quick, and then, I'll admit you, I check this every single day, and I'm admitting people every single day. So jump in there on it. Okay. Who gets mad and tends to shut down and won't talk to anyone. Okay. Anybody has any thoughts on that? I'd love to hear it. Jump in. And Pill, I'm encouraging you to join our group too if you're not already. Okay. I have a 6-year-old son who is not interested in doing anything that he has to do with his school. Same with my daughter who's not interested in writing or learning what I want to teach her, except playing, and playing. Okay, how old is the daughter? Maybe you say that here. How do I then motivate my son to practice writing and be interested in other things? He wants to watch TV and play smartphone games. Okay, first of all, I'd love to know how old your daughter is. Secondly, if he's 6 years old, he's not interested in doing anything to do with school, I would need more information there. Like, is he not wanting to go to school? Is he not participating in class when he is in school? I mean, what's happening there? I need to know some there. And as far as motivating him to practice his writing, yeah, that doesn't sound like fun to me. Certainly not to a 6-year-old. So you need to make it fun and not make it a chore. However, if he wants to just watch TV and play his smartphone games, the answer is no. Those are done after. Here, get this done first, and then you can do this. Now, keep this in mind. If he's at school all day, he doesn't want to be there in the first place, or he's not wanting to engage, and then he's coming home, and then you're saying, okay, now you have to do your homework, and he's like, get the heck out of here. I just was in school all day. I don't like it anyway, and I certainly don't feel like doing my writing. Obviously, I don't know what you do when he comes home from school. He needs a break. He needs downtime. He needs to go play. He needs to have a snack. He needs to rest his body because he's been in school all day. But you can say, here, we need to get this done, but make it fun. Don't make it a chore for him. And it's, say you do this and your reward is you get TV time, or you get phone time, or whatever it is. 6-year-olds, quite honestly, do not need to be watching a lot of TV and don't need to be playing on games on their phone. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. They need to be outside playing. And so maybe if you get him off of those devices anyway and send him outside to play a little more, it might help his wanting to participate in other things than phones and TV. Okay, good. Okay, Paola, your son is 7, high functioning. You treat him good. I did. And my son will tell me to this day, he's like, yeah, you didn't take any junk. And I didn't. My expectations were the same for all of my children. And I know that in some cases that can't work. In my case, it could. And he knew if I said to do something like I told everyone else in the family to do, he was expected to do it. Sorry, you're capable of this. And here's the other thing I just want to say, and I'm not offending anybody here. I'm telling you, I've worked with children with special needs for several years. Sometimes parents think their children are not capable of doing things because of their differing abilities. And sometimes parents don't push the children to do things, or they make excuses for why they can't do things. And I'm going to say to you, I'm going to challenge you on that. Now, in some cases, I understand that absolutely can't happen. But I want to say to you, just because your child has a differing ability does not mean he or she is capable of more than you think and know they are. Trust me, they are. In a lot of cases, they are. And I know in my case, he was. If I hadn't pushed, if I hadn't set boundaries and said, here's what I expect of you, here are my expectations, and try to get him to live up to those instead of lowering my expectations for him, just saying that, just putting that out there. Okay, hello from Greece, Adriana. I hope I'm saying that right. You're a mom with almost a 2-year-old. Oh, congratulations. Their 2-year-olds are, yes, the best is yet to come. 2-year-olds are great. I love 2-year-olds. Nicole, good. Stand with his nose touching the wall until he can quit crying and calm down. Okay. We've enforced it. So I don't know if that's a response to someone else said something, but you enforced he is to stand with his nose touching the wall until he can quit crying and calm down. Okay. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't know how that's helping him calm down by isolating him and putting his nose to the wall. However, if it's working, and some of you other parents with children with autism jump in here, if that's working, fine. I just think there might be some other things that might work a little bit better. You're saying it's working a little. It's standing him in the corner. I think I would create more of like a calm space for him, a safe space where he can just go and if he wants to isolate himself, and like a little tent that you can see into, or a little space in his room or somewhere else in the house that has softness, that he can just go and calm himself down versus facing the wall. Anyway, just my 2 cents, and I'm not trying to offend anybody. So jump in here, people, if you have any suggestions here. Hello, Jaylene. What I do with my 6-year-old is we make writing games. Okay, he loves to write. Okay, good. So make him do that stuff before he gets activity, like before he gets the phones and the TV or whatever. Like I said, have him come home, chill out, have a snack, relax, rest his body, go play or whatever. And then maybe try to do those things to make it more engaging for him. Because you wouldn't want to go to work all day and then come home and have more to do as soon as you come home. I don't know if I'm reading this right and interpreting what you're saying right. Okay, Sarah from Canada, 11-year-old has ADHD and a hard time at school. Okay, and falling behind. Any thought I can do? He keeps on calling himself dumb. You're going to break my heart right here. Wait a minute. Let me find you. It bounced down and gets overwhelmed and starts crying. Okay. So I have experience with a child with ADHD. Had a hard time at school. My first question is going to be, does he have an IEP? Because even for an IEP, even for ADHD, he should have an IEP. Is he taking medication? That's another question. And I know how demeaning that it can be when you have a child with ADHD who is struggling and doing their best and trying so hard at school and just feels overwhelmed, and maybe the teacher, I'm not saying, but maybe the teacher's not aware of the IEP. If you don't have one, you need to check into that for him. And you need to make the teacher aware of the challenges that he faces and see how she or he can help adapt the environment to make it work. So, for example, my son ADHD had an IEP. Well, he had for other reasons too, but he had an IEP. One of the things was he had a problem sitting still at his desk. He had permission to get up and move in the room, go to another space, and not disrupt people, but get up and go like in a corner in the room or something, just to stand for a few minutes. And then I was getting a call from a teacher saying he's getting up in class, and I was like, well, he has an IEP. Did you not see that's what he does? And they're like, oh, okay. So that was one way that helped calm him and helped him get back on task. It's a struggle. It can be a real struggle for school, and if he keeps calling himself dumb. Okay, I just did a whole thing last week on words have power, and it's hard as a parent when your child is saying that stuff about themselves, especially at just 11 years old. So I would have probably a conversation with him saying, you have ADHD. It's just differing ability. We just have to learn to adapt for you and figure out how we can make school work for you. And you're not dumb, you just learn differently. And so give him words to say to himself instead of I'm dumb, just say I learn differently. Replace that. So my daughter, 5 years old, 6 years old, come home from school, pick her up. We have a 30-minute drive home. And we'd be talking, then she'd say, oh, I'm so stupid. And I go, whoa, stop right there. I want you to tell me 5 nice things about yourself. 5 things about yourself that are positive. And I would train her to say positive things about herself instead of negative things about herself. So you might want to give that a try with him. I don't know. You can see if that helps anyway. Okay, I always tell my kids that put their minds to it, they can do it. Sure, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Learning disabilities does not mean you're dumb. It doesn't mean you can't learn. It doesn't mean you can't do things. It just means sometimes you have to learn a little differently. You have to adapt what you're doing, and you have to challenge yourself and challenge your children to do it. Hi, Kathy from Southern Illinois. Paola. Okay, good. Paola, thank you for responding to the comment about the son with ADHD and he's getting behavior therapy. Thank you. That might help. Hey, Sarah, I'm in North Carolina too. 12-year-old's a part of a blended family. He's having issues with his stepmom. He says horrible things to her like she's just number 3. Wow. Okay, wow. Okay. Woo! Yeah, that would be a real conversation you need to have with him. So, teaching respect for adults, even when he's angry. So it sounds like he's angry here. He's, not happy with the stepmom or maybe the whole situation. And I get that. It's hard for kids. However, he should not be permitted to speak to somebody like that. And that would be a conversation that you and his dad need to have, if I'm reading this right, about the expectations for behavior. And I know you've not said anything bad about her, but I think you're right. You need to sit down. Doesn't know how to parent. Okay. So then you've got other issues in her, not just stepmom, but now you also have parenting problems. I would say maybe he needs to read my book. Maybe some parenting courses are in it, suggested here, some parenting classes. This is really hard. And I'll read this more after, and I can, respond in the comments after. So if any of you, if I miss anything here, I can go back after and respond to some of these. But you've got a lot of issues going on here, okay? And he's 12, and that's an issue right in itself, all the puberty and the hormones and all that good stuff. You've got a lot going on here. So I'll jump in on that a little bit later. If anybody else has any thoughts on here. And also, I'm going to encourage you, Sarah, to join our group, the Common Sense Parenting with Pam, if you're not already part of it. Post this in there. You'll be surprised at the number of responses you get. Okay, good, Paola. No TV or tablet. Excellent. My daughter's 3 years old and ignoring it is not working out. She continues to whine. Okay, Michelle, let me tell you this. Whining is one of the things that drives me insane. Okay, so I totally can relate to you on this. So she's going to whine, and you're ignoring it. And then she's going to keep whining, and you're ignoring it. So then she's going to get louder, and then you're ignoring it. And then she's going to throw herself on the floor, and you're ignoring it. You have got to stay strong. Totally do not respond to her. Turn your back on her. Do not give her eye contact. Let her scream, flail around. Do not respond. The minute you do, she's won. Okay? Now, I don't want it to make it sound like you're in a power struggle with her, but you're saying you're ignoring it. It's not working out so well. She just continues to whine. Exactly, because she's waiting for you to cave. Okay, she's waiting for you to cave. And what's going to happen when you're trying to stop a behavior? It's going to escalate. It's going to get worse. It's going to get more intense. It's going to get more powerful because they're trying to get your attention. And so the louder she gets, or she throws herself on the floor, whatever it is that she's doing to whine, she's waiting for you to respond. And when you don't, and she realizes you're not going to, that behavior is going to stop. You just have to hang tough. I promise you on this. You have got to hang tough on this. That whining makes me, it's like fingernails on chalkboard to me. Okay. Yeah, so check into the IEP. And the reason I say this, there's a lady I follow on Facebook. It's called Advocating for Number 4 Education. Check her out. She has children with differing abilities. She said, even though your children have ADHD, they should have IEPs. Because a lot of people don't realize, just because they don't have maybe a physical disability or emotional or a mental disability that constitutes them being able to have an IEP, a lot of their issues that they face having ADHD, the impulsiveness, all the issues they have, staying on task, all that, you can get an IEP for that. So check into your school on that. Follow her. I wish I had her link here. I could put her up. It's Advocating for Number 4 Education on Facebook. Okay, she's very knowledgeable. She was a teacher. She's a mom. She's got kids with differing abilities. They have ADHD. I think one with autism, maybe. She's all over this. So she's great. Check it out. Ignoring whenever she starts whining. I was trying not to get him some meds, but I had to do it for his. Yeah, sometimes you do. Sometimes the meds work. Sometimes they don't. But you can at least give it a try here. Okay. 42-year-old. Hi, Ruth. 42-year-old kindergarten teacher, now grandma Gamma to 2-year-old sweetheart. Yep, thank you for what you're doing. Yep, I love what I'm doing. The IEP is the working document. As a teacher, this is Robbie. As a teacher, it is my job to read that and be aware of the content. To say that you didn't know that child does not have specific behavior is not acceptable. Amen, Robbie, but trust me, it happens. Amen. It happened for my son. Like his whole, like 8 teachers called me together for a meeting and I'm like, do you know he has an IEP? And this was high school. They're like, what? Like they were totally baffled. So I don't know where the breakdown was there, but that was like an eye-opener for me. Okay, so yes, you're right, though. You're right. A good teacher should do that. Good, Sarah. Child has an IEP, is on meds. That helps. Okay, whining is very annoying. Kelly, amen, amen, amen. Michelle, you're welcome. You're fed up with the whining. And I'm going to tell you something here. So my daughter, I would pick her up from school, had a 30-minute ride home. She was in childcare at the time. She was like 3 and 4 years old. Now, she'd been in school all day. And she's 3, 4, they whine, so she'd start whining. And I would try to, I'd catch it. I'd say, you need to use your words so I can understand what you need. Can you use your words? And she would start for a minute, and then that whining would start. Now, that to me, like I'm telling you already, you know how I feel. So I would give her a second to kind of, and she'd start whining. She wouldn't stop. And I would ignore her. So here's what I literally did. I put the radio on. Just put the radio on, ignore. I'm driving. I can't stop the car and get out, right? I'm not home. I'm driving on a highway, so I have to keep driving, and I pay attention, so I put the radio on. So she would escalate, and I would turn the radio up, and she would escalate, and I would turn the radio up. I didn't look at her. I didn't respond to her. I didn't say anything to her. I just put the radio louder. And then she kept screaming, so what I did was I just put the button down to put her window down. And the air blew in at her like this, and she gasped. No, it wasn't choking or anything, so I don't want to get pushed back on it. It just startled her for a second. Enough that it broke the whining. And she stopped. And the minute she stopped, I said, oh, is there something I can help you with? The minute I didn't say anything about, I'm so glad you're done whining, nothing. I just said, oh, is there anything I can help you with? That was it. Done. And we went from there. But you have to stay strong on this, I promise you. You're right. As a friend said, don't feed the drama monster. That goes for tantrums. I do a whole thing about, there's a whole Facebook Live about tantrums. You can go back and watch. When people say you get down, you help them regulate, you ignore the tantrums. Because if you don't, you're feeding the monster and you're creating more of a problem for yourself. Okay. Kelly, I don't know what I said you needed to hear, but okay. I'm saying so much, I'm not sure, but good. I hope it helped. ADHD and no IEP, check on that. Hello from PH, Philippines, I'm assuming. I know what happens. Okay, the lady, if you're saying what's her name, the lady you're referring to advocating for, you know what? Let me pull my phone up because I have my phone turned off since I'm on here. It's advocating for education. She's phenomenal. She does reels constantly, and I follow her. And actually, I thought about getting her on a live with me one day or interviewing her on a Zoom because I really like what she has to say. And, you know, I've dealt with IEPs with my son and my grandchildren, and I've been in IEP meetings, and sometimes it's so overwhelming because they're saying things in all these acronyms. You don't even know what the heck they're saying. All right, let me see if I can find her while we're on here. And this may go over for a few minutes, but I'm cool. All right, and why is my phone freezing up on me here? Okay, my phone is freezing up. Okay, let's see this one. Okay, questions regarding preteens. My daughter's 12 going on 13. She's physically turning into a young lady, but seems to be having an issue with it. Yep, she will only wear sweatshirts. The bigger, the better. She refuses to wear proper underclothes. She won't wear an undershirt or sports bra. I mean, refuses. That's a tough one. Oh, here we go. I would let it go for right now, honestly. I would let it go because the more you're talking to her about it, the harder it's going to be for her. It's embarrassing at that age, I think, for kids to you can talk about their body changing and puberty and sex and hormones and all that stuff. And so you might want to just let it sit for a minute. I would maybe talk to, here it is, it's advocating for fair education. I would maybe talk to her, a pediatrician, just to get any ideas. Get on our group maybe, Common Sense Parenting with me, and put this in, see what people have to say about that. I experienced that myself with one of my children. Big sweatshirts, big shirts, oversized. She was embarrassed about her body and, you know, how she developed and didn't want to emphasize it. And I just kind of let it go. I didn't say too much about it. You know, finally, she would wear bras, but only sports bras. And so we kind of went through that phase with her too. Okay, this lady, it's advocating. I'm going to put her right in the comments section here. Let me see if I can get this right without messing up. There she is, right there. Advocating for fair education. Okay, check her out. She has lots of stuff about everything. Yeah, so I'm going to pull her up here. Let me just show you this. There she is. Okay, so check her out. Okay, I just love this lady. And I never thought about an IEP just for ADHD before either, and she told me to do it. She told people to do it, so that's where I got it from. Okay, you're welcome for that one. Tips on potty training, yes. I actually did a whole Facebook Live on that. Go back to my Facebook Lives. Go to PamelaPalanza.com. Check on Content Corner. Go down. You'll see Facebook Lives. It's under the Watch tab, and you can watch it there. I also sell a potty training in 3 days ebook that you can find right on my site, and I guarantee you can potty train your child in 3 days. It works. So anyway, yes, lots of potty training tips. Not a problem on that one, Melissa. Okay. Any other questions? I don't know if I got them all, but I will definitely look these over after. I've got a 1 o'clock meeting I've got to jump on to shortly. Then I'll get back to these. This will post on my website, on my Facebook page as soon as we're done. It automatically posts, but it also will be on my website. So at any point, I always save them up there. You can go back and watch prior ones that you may have missed. So PamelaPalanza.com, just look under Watch, Facebook Lives. You'll find it there. Okay, and someone had asked me about, I did a reel about behavioral expectations for children, like quit frustrating yourself, expecting your children to do things that they're not capable of behaviorally according to their ages. You know, expecting a 2-year-old to share, that's not really legit. 3-year-olds, you know, they want your help, but then they don't. They're trying to be independent, and then they get frustrated, and as a parent, if you don't understand what I call their job descriptions, you get frustrated because you're not parenting them to the expectation of their behavior, and then they're getting frustrated. So, and so I put a reel up about that, and then a lady asked me, well, do you have a chart? Well, if you go to parenting, the website parenting.com, they do have a chart up there that, and I had the link and I lost it. I was going to share it, but that tells you like behaviorally, here's what you should expect for a 2-year-old. I think they start at age 1 and go up to age 10. So here's what you should expect and here's what you can do. So it really helps parents navigate that. And when I work with child care providers, I train them all the time. As teachers, you need to understand developmentally, behaviorally, what your children are capable of in your class. Because if you don't know that, just creates a mess for everybody involved. So it's really important you understand that part. Okay. Okay, here we go. We got another one just coming, Deborah. Okay, my son's 6 years old, told his mom and dad he really liked the name Ann and wanted to be called it. The parents had now gone further than to put him in girls' clothing. Okay. His 8-year-old brother has always got more attention. So that's a whole, another issue here. Yes. So I know of a little boy that wanted to become a little girl, and he's 9, and now she is changed, kept the same name, but wears female clothing and identifies as a female. And the parents are fine with that. They tried to do everything possible before that, but she was adamant, and that's what they do now, and everyone's kind of accepting of the whole thing. So I'm not sure. My son's 6-year-old son, they might want to talk to a counselor about this. It could be the child really feels that she is she, or it could be it's a way to get attention because of the sister. I don't know. So if I were you, okay, maybe, I keep saying his 8-year-old brother. So differentiating himself. I would say talk to a counselor at first. That's what they probably need to start with. Talk to the pediatrician, talk to a counselor. I'm a live and let live person. I think with young children, all the can of worms is opened here because a lot of times children are just confused, right? Sometimes they do feel like they're the different gender, and sometimes they're just confused. So it's a really fine line you walk on this one. But I would start with the pediatrician and maybe a counselor on this one. And if anybody else has any thoughts, jump in on them here. Okay? Anyway, it is time to roll. I will see you all next week. Remember, look for the book on the 23rd. It'll be up on Amazon. Common Sense Parenting with Pam, the manual you wish they came with. Until next week, remember, hug and love your babies.